I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
The gang's all here, y'all.
Yes.
We're back. We appreciate your patience as we're back with another episode of The Magician's After Show right here on AfterBuzz TV. That's right, we are talking Season 5, Episode 7, Acting Dean. My name is Ty Matthews. Joining me, as always, one of my absolute favorite crews in my entire very long tenure here at AfterBuzz. Ladies and gentlemen, she'll be back later on with news and gossip, Miss Steph Sabraw.
Hello, Ty. Happy to have you back.
I'm happy to be back, you know. Spent a week in New Mexico. Now I'm back.
Nice.
Ooh,
And
yes.
of course, 2 steps left. She'll be back here with our wizard/witch of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Adrian Snow.
Hi, guys. Happy to see you again. Sorry, I sound like crap because life's hard sometimes in a week.
You know, you brave sickness, you brave traffic, but
brave
we're
traffic.
here
You're
to
a
bring you
warrior.
content
Yes.
about the magicians.
And then I'll be gone for 2 weeks. But yes.
You know, it's we're here. We're all here now. That's what's important. We got Bree in the booth on the 1s and 2s, of course. We're bringing you the Magician's After Show.
Yes.
You know, if you're in the live chat, once again, we appreciate your patience. We appreciate you joining us this week and every week. Smash that like button if you are so inclined. Let's get the conversation rolling. We are going to be talking about all sorts of things that happen in this episode. We're going to be talking about Psycho Dean.
Yes.
One of my favorite variants of a long-standing character. We're going to be talking about Alice's new friend, or maybe new acquaintance, Hamish. And we're going to be talking about the scheming of the Dark King that has finally been brought to light.
Yes.
What are your guys' overall thoughts on the episode?
Go first.
I liked the episode, but I feel like we didn't get much. A lot of it is filled in a lot of what all of the fans watching at home predicted.
Sure.
But I still thought it was fun, and I love a good Psycho Dean.
Of course.
And Todd.
You always
Yeah.
got to love Todd.
Yeah, we've gotten our Psycho Todd, so I was like, oh, okay, hello again.
Yeah.
At first, when Dean came, I said, that is not Dean Fogg. And then I was like, it might be Dean Fogg, so I crossed it back out. And then he did something weird again. I said, okay, maybe that isn't Fogg. So overall, I really liked the episode. It took some turns I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting, like, the whole Penny Julia thing to happen.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to have another multiverse Fogg appear. Or, because we have had one other Fogg from the different timeline appear. So, but yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it, you know?
Yeah.
And I like that there were actual consequences to moving the moon.
Exactly, yeah. With something that big, yeah, of course there's going to be some sort of, consequences. I definitely thought, like, I was like, there's no way it was this easy for him to get out of the etheric realm.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, something, I wasn't sure if it was the same Dean, but I figured, I thought at first that it might have been, like, the Emperor in disguise. The
Me
Emperor
too,
of the
I thought that
etheric
at
realm,
first.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I love, that's one of the things I think I've talked about it before that I love about the show is that with all these different timelines, you can get these different versions of characters and like, it's kind of a fun like experiment. Like you get to see, like, for example, when Quentin was the Beast, you know, you get to kind of play in that sandbox for a little bit before coming back to the main timeline. I always thought that was a lot of fun. But yeah, a whole lot happening in this episode. I feel like I was talking a little bit about it before we started, how it's split into, like, there's Fillory and there's Brakebills, but then those are also kind of split off
Like their sub.
into their little subplots. Yeah, it's very, I enjoy what's happening right now. So let's talk about what's happening at Brakebills first. Let's talk about Todd, of course, being the one to be sent on this quest.
Who gets the rhyme?
By Mr. Pigface. Yeah. That song was also hilarious.
Awful. And just like Todd to write it on napkins.
Of course. I don't know if
And his hand.
Yeah, I don't know if the people that watched it on Sci-Fi, I don't know if it might have had like the next on playing over it. So if you didn't get to hear the complete version of his questing song.
Oh yeah, at least a part of the complete version.
Right.
Yeah, they do play. Well, if you watch it on the app, they don't do the next one right after, so you can hear the full thing.
See, there you go. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like you talked about, after we kind of get that song and we realize that death is coming to Fillory, we get a lot of really interesting and really intense stuff between Penny and Julia. What do you guys think of that?
I didn't like it.
I know.
I just, it sucks because I really feel for Penny. He's kind of he's in a shitty place where he loves Julia and this Julia, which I liked how they established that. He was like, I know you're not the same. Obviously, you're not the same. I fell in love with you, though.
Right.
A different version of yourself. But I just thought it was really sad. But I thought Julia took a lot of command, and she is taking it this season. I see you guys in the chat talking about how it kind of affirms that she can totally. Sarah Inglis, the episode further proves that Julia can lead the series, sans Q.
Right.
And I agree. She does a really great job of getting it done, but I felt bad for Penny.
Yeah, I felt bad for Penny, but then I don't know if I felt bad. It's just I was surprised by it. I was surprised by the abruptness with which she did it. She was just like, I think we're done. And I was like, whoa, what? Like, that's just not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting her to go about it that way. But then when Penny was like, yeah, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, I don't want to do this again. I was like, that actually makes sense. They're just not going in the same direction anymore. I mean, it's becoming clearer and clearer that Penny is, in his own way, becoming more earthbound. He can't travel. He can still do magic, but he's now acting Dean. He is the Dean of Brakebills. So there's no real inclination for him to go and do all these like trials and travels with them anymore, because the one thing he really offered when he was doing that kind of stuff was his traveler abilities. Like him as just a magician, without really even wanting to do that stuff, would solely be doing it for Julia. So I can understand him being like, well, I have these responsibilities. I have these things I kind of want to take care of, and you don't want to seem to do that. And it makes sense because Julia, for the longest, couldn't do any of that stuff. She wasn't adventuring for the first, few times that they did it because she didn't have magic, and she was trying to get magic, and then she was dealing with gods. And so it makes sense that she wants to play that role now, and she does fill it well. But yeah, it's just not his life anymore.
Right. Yeah, Earthbound is a fascinating way to put it. I think you're absolutely right. And one thing that I've always found so fascinating is that with 40 different timelines, you got to think all of the different permutations of these people, and how they may and may not work together. Yeah. The fact that this Penny and Katie couldn't be viable, but the fact that this Penny could be viable with multiple versions of Julia is so interesting to me. Yeah.
I need Penny to get his full range of powers back.
Sure.
You cowards, give it back. I think that's why I feel bad. It's not that obviously, I think they're going to get back together.
You think so?
Yes. This isn't long game. This is just, I need to fix the world. Yeah. Her just being a superwoman. That's fine. But I need him to be back in full force.
Yeah, I think him having that ability is great. But I think also it's kind of always been a burden to him.
Sure.
So, like, he likes the traveling aspect of it, but he doesn't like the psychic aspect of traveling.
Exactly, yeah. So. Him being kind of tormented by these powers is the first thing we really kind of see in the show.
Yeah.
In the very first episode, after we're introduced to Q and Julia, we see him kind of tormented by these things.
Yeah. And so, but it would be nice if he could have the ability to travel again without having to deal with the psychic stuff. But at the same time, he needs to deal with the psychic stuff. Like, what was Plum Chatwin? What's going on there? We still don't know what happened.
Right. Yeah.
I have predictions about that.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. That's the thing with this show and with this season. There are so many different things that like you kind of got to take a break from one to kind of go on these other adventures. I love the montage that we see of acting Dean Penny kind of dealing with all these different varying levels of catastrophe.
Yes. Oh gosh.
The pencil conspiracy, the chicken issue.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff.
I love it.
No,
he's the best person to deal with those kind of issues.
Well,
right. Yeah.
Because he's like, what?
Right.
I don't have time for this.
I think my favorite response is when Psycho Fogg was like, stay in here, you'll get blown up, sprayed by acid, eaten by centipedes or become a centipede. And Penny just goes, the this is a school. Like,
Exactly.
like it's true. Like, they deal with ridiculous crap
Right.
just to go to school.
Yeah. So
and then
let's-
some stuff is just elementary crap.
Right, exactly. So let's talk a little bit about Psycho Fogg and his kind of his motivations. The fact that he came from a timeline where he killed everyone, and now
Yeah.
he's trying to bring Brakebills back for his daughter.
So he killed everyone as a way to stop the beast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he got categorized as psycho, but I don't think he's not evil. He might just be a little
I mean, and
unhinged.
and that's the thing that we've talked about is evil is sometimes subjective, and that you know, villains, whether fictional or real, always think that they're the protagonists in their own stories.
yeah.
And so yeah, but I love that Todd's slip up of cinnamon is what kind of undoes him, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Todd just being Todd.
Just being
Todd. And you knew when he called him Eliot too. That was a clue into it
Yeah,
being different.
I was really interested in how, like, I wasn't sure what exactly that meant or where that was going when that happened.
Yeah. I think that's the point when he said Elliot. I went back and I went, okay, maybe that isn't Fogg. Like, why would he say that?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we as the audience know that is Todd's real name.
Right.
But,
Right.
you know,
That's right. I keep forgetting.
that is his real name.
Oh.
Elliot was like, no, it's not
Nah,
anymore.
only
But,
one
yeah.
of me.
That's
But
right.
there's a really interesting theory, sorry, just running in the chat, that Plum Chatwin is Dean Fogg and Jane Chatwin's daughter. Which,
that
maybe.
was my prediction.
Okay.
oh, was that
okay.
your prediction?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad. I feel like that's I feel like most people would maybe assume that as a prediction. It's not for sure, but I think so.
I didn't put that together. I just didn't.
Because
I kinda
she
forget
has
about
no
Jane a lot.
ties. You know, Plum
Yeah.
has no ties.
Our
and you
founder,
wonder
Keven
what her
Undergaro.
connection is.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned
Hey,
in to
Maria.
AfterBuzz TV.
By the way,
ESPN of TV.
let me just plug this AfterBuzz TV right now. That was our co-founder, Maria Menounos. We want to thank you guys for watching, making us the ESPN of TV talk. Please hit that like button. Leave us a comment after this video ends. Also, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Give us those 5 stars. We love your support.
Of course, absolutely.
Yes. Thank you.
Now we've talked about Psycho Fogg, about Todd, all that stuff. Let's talk about Hamish and how he our introduction to him and his interactions with Alice and everything.
Hamish Bax.
Yes. What did you guys think of this?
Eh. I mean, I was like, are they going to kill this guy immediately? 'Cause,
Right.
the moment he stepped out into the doorway, I was like, well, and
well.
then, you know.
It's like is this the beginning of every scary movie where
Yeah,
we kill
right.
off the first black person
Yeah.
introduced? Like what?
Yeah.
I liked him. I just felt like it was I want more. Every time we introduce a new character that spends a lot of times with one of our core characters, I think it's important to establish them a little bit more. I didn't get that as much, so I wonder if he's not going to play in at all, which would confuse me. I want him to. I like him.
Yeah.
I like him. I think if he's going to be offered as a love interest for Alice, I'm not really interested. I think sometimes it's okay to let your leads be alone in their grief
Sure.
and to not have to immediately give them a new love interest, even if it's not happening now, but setting it up for the next season.
And yeah, I was wondering about that up until when Alice very quickly corrects them and says that he's not her friend. I think that's when I realized, like, all right, this is where we're going with this.
Yeah. And, I'm sure him immediately mentioning her mom, she's like, oh, gross, you're probably, like,
Right.
been to an orgy.
Oh.
That's what exactly. I'm
Yeah.
glad they kind of nipped that in the bud a little bit.
Yeah.
But did it seem kind of convenient to you guys, him just being able to kind of like pull wards out like weeds? Did that kind of strike you guys or no?
Yes and no, only because you've seen wards be like such a huge thing and so hard to break, and then he just kind of broke it apart. But,
Yeah.
I'm an herbalist, and we think differently about things.
Interesting. Okay. I can dig that. Yeah.
So I wasn't surprised. I was like, well, if he's like a type of magician we haven't encountered before, then he might look at things differently and approach them in a way that we just haven't seen before.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I mean by more introduction to his character, because gas him up a little bit, you
Sure.
know? But
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
not too bothered by it.
Right. Let's go over to Fillory. See what talk about Margo and Eliot and everything. And I always got to mention, always good to see Rafe back.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, and he's dealing
Friend
with a
of the show.
kangaroo, Gertrude.
Love it.
Doesn't like Gertrude.
Does not like her.
Pouch creatures.
That was
Right?
so funny.
They're so cute, though. They'll punch you in the face. Don't mess with a kangaroo.
They're buff. Kangaroos. Oh my god.
But yeah, we see this kind of, yeah, you're right. We see this whole scheme from Big Pickwick kind of, planting the gold, these gold droppings from these beetles to frame the fairies, when of course there's something bigger afoot.
I mean, Big Pickwick went full, like, creepy alt-right today. And I was like, okay.
Right.
Even though he was, like, smirking, and you're like, you're sentencing these fairies to die.
Right.
And you get off on it.
Yeah.
Like, that's so gross.
Well, and that line, what fairy is innocent?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
yeah.
I was happy for him to be caught and out. I didn't like him since the first introduction. He's giving the girls a hard time for being women.
Yeah.
Right.
Out.
Yeah. Goodbye.
But yeah, so as we kind of get more of this game of fairy telephone, kind of going off with Margo and Finn and Rowan.
It's interesting because history obviously didn't play well for Margo.
Right.
But that's not often the case in real life. I feel like history glorifies horrible humans throughout time.
And I think that's what we're seeing with the Dark King.
Yeah.
Is that, like,
it's flipped.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think it was something where it does speak to, what we're taught about certain people throughout history. And even now, you'll be taught something and then you'll get older and realize, wait, like, Joan of Arc wasn't, like, a witch and evil? I'm not saying this is true. I learned a different history about Joan of Arc. But, that we're all constantly having to be retold because whoever's in power when history's being made, things are different now because we have a lot more technology.
Right.
Often tells how history is going to be told in the future.
Sure.
And so I think that definitely did. Margo was definitely punished in that way, and that they were able to rewrite things because she was gone for so long, and it wasn't like she had someone there in place. She took everyone who would have been there to keep her name with her. And even then, they weren't good at managing when she wasn't there. So.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
Right. So we've got that, and of course Eliot struggling with his feelings
Desire.
for exactly for the Dark King, who has
don't
lived up to
blame
his
him.
name.
Called
I know.
it.
I
Yeah.
just don't blame him. It's hard.
Sure.
It's hard. But I thought Eliot did such a good job because he was kind of alone this time, and he didn't have his usual team with him.
Yeah,
so.
Charlton.
Yeah, Charlton. Yeah, the homie.
Gotta love
but Charlton
Charlton.
was sleeping part of it. He needed his rest. But I thought that he figured out that I liked the Fillory plot better than
The Brakebills. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And I did like that the fairies were like, well, since you've saved us, we're going to show you a bit of truth. And they showed what I always thought was happening, is that the Dark King's creating the Takers. And
Yep.
so he
Yeah,
some type of weird
bringing him from the. Oh man, I'm very interested to see what happens with all of that. So much happening in this episode. Miss Adrian Snow,
Yes.
who's our
Witchcraft, Sorcerers, and Dragons of the Week.
Absolutely, I like that name. I'm gonna write that down.
Thank you.
No.
Sorry, and then I die. For real though. No, I only have two. I wanted to talk about. This is actually veering more into science and witchcraft, sorcerers, and dragons. But as there's always said, what is the difference between magic and science? I can't remember the quote, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Arthur C. Clarke? Yeah.
So there's a bacteria that poops gold.
Interesting.
It's called, Cubriovetus metalliodurans.
Ooh.
And it's a soil-living rod-shaped bacteria. And it has a certain enzyme that changes toxic versions of gold into inert solid gold nuggets. So it literally absorbs all toxic metals, and it'll absorb a toxic gold, and it'll just poop it right out, just like a nugget.
Don't you wish all humans did that?
That's wild.
Yeah. I mean, we are majority bacteria. Imagine if we had that bacteria and it was like cool with us and not trying to kill us, and we just pooped gold. Anyways, and then I just wanted to talk briefly about the multiverse theory. So, because we do touch on it, and there was a weird moment where Julia was like, you continued on after Jane Chatwin reset. And they've kind of dabbled in that, and they've kind of toyed with it. but just always said they were going back in time. But what they're kind of laying a foundation for is that all these timelines are going on at the same time consistently. So even though so-and-so died and so-and-so died, they're still going, which they go back and forth about whether or not they want to continue with that sometimes. So this is, you've seen this in like the DC television universe. They do this. I mean, they just kind of blew up their own multiverse this season. Sorry, spoilers. And then Legion as well. You see, there's a ton of different multiverse, different things.
Of course.
But,
Wasn't that a big conceit of Fringe as well?
yes. Yeah, big conceit of Fringe. But one of the first times it's actually coined is by William James. He coined it in 1895, but under a different context. He is, I believe, a psychiatrist. The first time it was officially coined was by Michael, this is his real name, Michael Moorcock, in 1963. It's called, in the book, The Sundered Worlds. And then, Schrodinger in 1952 came to the conclusion that there aren't necessarily alternate versions, that alternate histories, but everything's happening at the same time, so we're split off. And he proved this with his theory of the Schrodinger's cat.
That is why. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Michael Moorcock.
Absolutely love your delivery. I wouldn't have blinked an eye, but the fact that you built it up like that.
I mean, I was like, Michael
We're all adults
Moorcock, what?
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I could deep dive into the multiverse for hours and hours. That's a Wikipedia rabbit hole waiting to happen.
Right?
Steph, what do we got in the way of news and gossip?
Oh, some fun news and gossip on our girl Julia. Stella posted on Instagram some BTS photos from shooting. We haven't seen this scene yet, but it is her yielding a sword. But she confirms that, yes, she was in fact pregnant during shooting this season, which a lot of people obviously implied with the timeline going on.
Sure.
And even some scenes, you can just tell she's wearing black in a lot of scenes, so it makes sense. But so cool of her. I mean, it really is just another proof that we are women are the best.
Can do it all.
We can do it all. And I'm so happy that she is in her relationship with her now fiance, right?
Yeah,
Brie in the
Benjamin
booth.
Wadsworth.
Yeah, is really awesome. So, hell yeah.
Nice. There we go. Well, guys, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but let's get into some predictions.
Yes.
AfterBuzz TV prediction.
We got we're a little bit past halfway in the season.
Yeah.
So what's happening for the rest of these episodes?
Oh man, I wish I'd be here to talk about it. Plum Chatwin's coming back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dean's coming back because if Psycho Fogg is willing to come back for his, daughter that he just found, then I think the Dean will come out of the etheric realm for her. Mm-hmm. And the Dark King, I think the Dark King is still the big dude. I think there's the same person.
Yeah, that's a good prediction. Yeah, I think Jane Chatwin and Dean Fogg got it on, had Plum Chatwin.
Okay.
We're going to get her back. Hopefully, I think that Penny will still find that. If who Dean was teasing knows how to get his powers back, maybe, or his psychic abilities back, then if that's real, then I think he would go find that maybe in a few episodes. That might not be this direct one, but a funny comment in the chat from Carmen Cortez, it should have been called the Moorcock multiverse.
There we go.
You know what? He's still alive. You can reach out to Michael Moorcock.
There you go.
Let him know.
Very nice. Oh man, where are we going from here? I'm thinking. You know what? I don't think Penny's getting his powers back for a long time. If ever. I don't know. I think if he's gonna be the new Dean, I feel like we kind of saw that in Dean Fogg. He didn't quite have the capabilities.
When he's blind?
Yeah. And so I think we're going to get that a little bit. I mean, I feel like everyone in this show gets a turn without powers at certain points. Mm-hmm. But I feel like, Penny's he's going to go on this trajectory. He's going to go on a learning journey, find out that, he really... The powers were the friends we made along the way. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
so true.
But yeah, so that's it. Yeah, guys, if you have predictions, like I always say, no matter how wild they are, the wilder the better. Hit them with us in the chat. Hit them with us on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Guys, where can they find you?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow. You can also catch me on Sundays for Outlander and Doctor Who. I will unfortunately be in Scotland. I mean, that's not unfortunately. I'm happy to go.
It's pretty awesome.
For 2 weeks, so I won't be here for the next 2
There you go.
episodes, but I will see you guys after that.
Yes, we'll miss you. I just want to shout out Stephen John Paul in the chat. Thank you for rocking with us. Grecian Ryan, David Collins, Patrick Nelson, Sarah Inglis, Billie Jean Girl, Harley Quinn, all of you guys, thank you so much for being in the chat with us. I'm Steph Sabraw. You can find me at Steph Sabraw all over social media.
There you go. Yeah, thank you to all of our friends in the chat. As always, we couldn't do this without you guys. You can find me on all forms of social media at Ty Matthews PMA, as well as Tuesdays on the X-Pac 12360 show right here on AfterBuzz TV. We'll be right back here next week, same time, same channel, talking Season 5, Episode 8. We're trucking along, but until then, peace.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.